All right. Thank you for joining us on this call. My name is Steven. This is my mother, Cecilia. We have been going on a journey of KDP.
That's a good word for it.
I have been doing the POD business for a couple of years now. We always like helping people. Something that I've been struggling with as we grow our business is just remembering what it was like to help newer people. The original thought was, oh, I'll just help my mom get an account up, get a few sales. It shouldn't be that hard. And then we can move on. And then I can kind of bring people into where we are training them, which is like understanding the customer, growing, scaling the business. And then quickly found out that as I was helping my mother, there are people that are just struggling with a lot of things that I have not even thought about in many years because I started this journey 15 years ago. And even my mom was like, I don't know how to split the screens. I was like, oh, okay. There's a lot more learning that I have to do and educating that I have to do in order to get you to the place where you can even like start and open up an account.
Right.
So I think it was very fascinating. It seems to have helped a lot of people. I've had people asking me, where is it at? What's going on? And now we just want to do a follow up. It's been a few months now from when we first started this journey. And it was interesting for me to see my mom go from frustrated to overjoyed to back to frustrated to finding success. And then just like it's the entrepreneurial journey, but it was just interesting to see it from a son's point of view, seeing my mom go through these trials and tribulations. So you've been asking me a few questions and I've been answering them, but I want to do it more publicly again. So I know you've learned a lot and I just want to hear
Yes.
from you.
Yeah.
How do you feel from starting to where you're at now? And just like elaborate on your side of this journey
Okay, well, I feel like
and the
it's been
lessons
a
you've learned.
few short months and I have come a long way from not even basically knowing how to work my way around the computer was a big stumbling block for me, but you helped me on that. I don't have my notebook in front of me anymore. Everything's on the computer. I went from scratching the notes on pages and pages of paper to using the computer for my notes and then figuring how to find the notes. So that's been all a journey, and you helped me along the way. So that was great. And the first week, I remember you were like, "We're gonna have a book up on the end of the week," and I was like, "Okay, this is never gonna happen. I could not see how this is gonna happen." But I did, and I kind of figured it out, and you helped me, of course, and it's been fun to learn all the different parts of it, doing the artwork and doing the research, and it's been struggles, but
I
it
guess
was good.
let me ask you that. When you started, did you think it was this many steps involved?
No, of course not.
But now that you've done them, you see that they're not that difficult.
No, they're not difficult, and I was really overwhelmed. I was like, "Oh, this is not gonna happen. No, no way." But I did it. I'm impressed with myself, actually, that I did it.
It's
And then
interesting for me to see it because I was just like, oh, it's so easy to do that. And then seeing that you struggled through like almost every step was very interesting to me.
Well,
But
I'm so
you
used to
did accomplish it.
shuffling papers around and finding my stuff on my papers. Like that's like old school, I guess. But I mean, that's how I always did everything. So, uh, just to have everything on the computer, not even knowing how to what to click, the middle wheel, and all of that. I didn't know any of that. And then, like you said, with the putting the two pages next to each other on the computers, two pages, I guess you call it, side by side.
Windows.
Windows, yeah, I don't even know all the terminology, but I figured out how to move the tabs around and do all that. I mean, that was a big hurdle for me. Not the KDP so much. That was a big hurdle, but just to figure out how to use the computer to do what I wanted, you were trying to teach me.
Yeah, I guess the process. I've always done the process online. And it was interesting to me that you were doing everything on with pen and paper and just transitioning that your process to online. I guess that was like a
That was big.
unknown for me that I just assume everybody is doing
Yeah.
it this way. And then you were like, no, I've never opened up a Google sheet. I was just like, oh, okay, I have to, instead of showing you our process, I have to help you build a process that
What
works
worked
for
for
you.
me.
And now
Right.
to where you even telling me last time is like, you just have a sheet that you open, like, these are the windows I need to open in order to do this process.
Right.
It was interesting to me because like I'll have it saved at the top as tabs, or like I'll have all the information, but you actually had it on a document. And I was like, it works. It's
Because I
definitely
wanted
not
to write it down on a piece of paper.
it wasn't the way that I would have solved that problem, but it's just helping you solve problems in a way that work for you was a bigger aha moment for me. And I think that helped me start to understand how to help more people. It's just like, oh, okay, our process and the way that we do things, even on like the base level, is still maybe something that people can't grasp. So when we
Yeah.
start here and we teach from here, like we're losing everybody as soon as we keep moving on. Because then I was saying, like, all you have to do is grab this information, put it into our tool, and then you were like, I can't grab that information because it's not anywhere.
Right. I mean,
And
even
it
to
was very interesting.
highlight the words, to triple click them, to put them on this other thing. I mean, it's very easy now, but if you don't know how to do it, then it's like a mess.
So it's like
So
that initial learning curve to even get in the game. I feel like that took us a
was,
while.
yeah.
But then once you had better understanding of just like how to manipulate the things, that's when it seemed like KDP kind of, I don't know if it clicked immediately, but it was like it wasn't hard to like set up an account and get an account.
No, it was not. But just the process of doing it was a process for me. And then getting the account. I mean, that seemed like a big hurdle, but then now in hindsight, okay, yeah, that was not as difficult and everything was not as, it wasn't difficult. It was just like figuring it out.
Yeah, like you said,
And
it is a process. It probably is bigger in your mind than when you're actually going through it. But once
yeah,
you do it, then you can look back and go, oh, it wasn't that difficult. It wasn't that hard. But I guess this, for me, went in stages. It was like that first initial, us just trying to figure out common ground to be able to communicate, to like get something done. Then it was getting the account was like the first benchmark. Then it was the first listing, which I remember being very enjoyable for me because I think that was another thing that you built up. I don't know about built up in your head is the right word, but it seemed to you to be way more difficult than it was. And I was just like, just do the process. It is a process, but once you do it, you'll see like, oh, it's not that difficult. But I remember
right.
asking you to make that first listing by the next day, and you were like,
Yeah, that's never gonna happen. Well, it was like on a Wednesday, and you're like, "We'll have it by Friday." I was like, no." I didn't really say no to you, but I was like thinking, "No, this is not gonna happen." And then you just stepped through it, stepped through the processes, and was like, "Oh," I was afraid to click that submit for publishing button, checking everything to make sure it was set, and then that was cool. And then to like find my book up or find it. Well, the first few books, of course, were like
you
I
couldn't
couldn't
find
even
them.
find them.
I just
So
want
I
to
was like, how can
go back.
anybody buy that? I can't even find it.
I want to go back to what you said about the first book that you did and having that fear of clicking
Yeah.
that first time. I think this is another big aha moment for me because we had a computer from a very early age. I remember
Yes.
Uncle sent us one, and then I remember we built one
Probably
shortly
you were
after.
second, I think second or third grade.
I remember we had one like way before a lot of other people, and it was very interesting. But I think from growing up with a computer, I kind of know like the extreme of things and knowing like when it's pretty safe to click on things and knowing like when I can reverse them versus like, oh, I just clicked that, I fully messed it up forever. For me, there's like a huge backlog of being comfortable with clicking things.
Yeah.
And I think that when you said that, the fear of clicking might be another hurdle that people have is like, I'm afraid to click this because I don't know what's going to happen versus me where like, I'm going to click this and just whatever happens, I know I can deal with whatever the next thing is. Maybe that's like a difference between like, especially now with the newer generations where kids are on the phone just clicking like all kinds of stuff and just like learning that process.
Right.
That process for you is maybe a little different because as you do things outside of the computer world, like a lot of those things are permanent more than just like when you click on things, it's very quick to just like click back or like whatever. The programs are made for you to click and then be able to click back.
Right.
Whereas like
It
if you
used to
use
be,
your
I
pen and
think, if you
pencil
click
and
on
you
something,
write
you
something down,
mess
it's
it up.
more permanent. Like you have to then pull
Yeah.
out the eraser.
Well,
with a computer, it's like so fast to do all that stuff. I don't have a fear of clicking. But maybe that's another thing we should be addressing, is just like, don't be afraid to click. Like we say, don't be afraid to take action, but maybe it is that we should refine that a little bit and say, don't have a fear of clicking, because everything in here can be undone. There's no like permanency of any of this. There's nothing that you can truly mess up. Like, especially when you get started, I don't think there's anything, especially inside KDP, that you could click on that would like destroy your account. Everything in there is fairly safe to click on.
Well, I realize that now.
Well, I think that's what it is like a learning process to feel comfortable with clicking.
Yeah.
Like you've never opened up KDP before. You've never set up an account before. I think it's
It's
the fear of the unknown.
Exactly.
Okay. That was just interesting though. You said that the click, like you were nervous to even click that. Whereas me, I was like, I don't know that, especially when I started, I was like, I don't know this, but I'm just going to click. I just want to get a listing up as quick as possible to know
like
what the buttons are.
double checked it, back the page. And it was like, I get everything in there.
Yeah, it's interesting. The way I learn is more like, I know I'm going to mess something up. I just want to make all the mistakes as fast as possible so that I can do them better next time. Whereas you're like a little more reserved and cautious moving through the process.
To have it right before yeah.